What's going on, everybody? My name is Josh. I work for a shop called Vic's Vapes in San Clemente, and today I'm going to be going over the IPV4 that did have a failed charging circuit. Now, obviously, we have seen, and I'll put the link in the below, Pioneer for You testing, putting liquid directly onto the charging board, and nothing happened while charging. And I'm sure everyone at this point is asking questions. What happened? And I wish I could have gotten this video out sooner, but personally, I'm not, a video person. I don't usually do a lot of videos, and I had the first-hand experience with it, so everything was coming down to me, and I have shop responsibilities that I'm supposed to be doing. I have my own personal business that I'm doing, so I have a lot going on, so I didn't have the time to really release this video when it should have came out. In all actuality, this whole problem, this whole issue is a three-part idea. It was my fault for releasing a photo and not releasing enough information explaining the entire situation, which is why I'm making this video now. And then the second issue is obviously Pioneer for You did do a bad design with the actual IPV4 with having that charging port up there, because I'm still believing that liquid did cause some sort of failure. Even though they did their test, I'm going to show you up and close after I'm done with this on exactly how I got to that conclusion. And number three, it was user error with my friend for over dripping, so it's no one's to blame. There's equal weight on everyone's part. I do apologize for creating such a chaos in the industry. My main thing is I've been vaping for almost 3 years now, and I've been involved with the industry for almost about that same amount of time, and I've loved the vapes. I've loved using my vaporizer instead of smoking those nasty stinkies. So I saw that this was an issue with a good friend of mine. He just got the unit. It was a fairly new unit. It was some of the first ones that actually hit the United States, and he had this catastrophic failure. So I wanted to make sure that other people don't encounter the same issue. It wasn't that I wanted to blow up our page, or I wanted to create such a scare, or I wanted to create any chaos that it's, evolved into almost. It's more or less I wanted to make sure that the consumer's safety was number one, because if I didn't do anything, who knows? Someone else could have, blown off their hand. So let's go ahead and dive up close and take a look at exactly how I got to this conclusion. Alright guys, so here is the IPV4 charging circuit that came out of the IPV4 below. Now this was a fairly new IPV4. It did get bought, I think, a few weeks ago. There's for Pioneer for You. There's the serial number, so maybe you guys can confirm what batch it is from. Now, the reason we came to the conclusion that liquid was the reason behind it was, if you overdrip, which my friend who has this unit is notorious for doing, so that's what made me, start to think of that conclusion. But also, the batteries were fine. There is a little bit of scarring on the batteries. I unfortunately don't have them anymore because we tossed them out just to be safe. The unit does still fully function and fire, so the SX chip itself was good. It just seemed like that this board was bad. Now, obviously, if you are an overdripper, you aren't just going to want to make sure you wipe down here. You're going to want to make sure you wipe down in here, because the thing is this does have a little gap, and liquid easily could seep underneath between there, and you could think you got all the liquid. However, it could just be billowing up down here. Now, as you guys can see, there is visible scarring going from about there all the way up to that charging port, kind of making it center around that charging port. I did fill it with some hot glue to kind of make this a little bit safer so my friend could use it. And then more visible scarring all the way there. So as it stands, I saw that scarring. I saw the batteries were fine. I saw that this thing was bad, or this the screen was still working and the device was still working. And then I noticed that this charging board, when I took it apart, was fried. So my logical conclusion was that liquid seeped down, got into the charging port, and somehow shorted it. Maybe the batteries plus the charging port in the hole, not like Pioneer for You's test where they actually put it on the circuit board, actually in that charging port hole, and then, maybe some on the Type 510. I don't know, but I'm seeing visual scarring from here to here and centering around the charging port. My friend is an overdripper, and this board is shot, and the device still works. So these are all just, my conclusions that I've came to over messing with this unit and encountering this situation. I'm not an electrician, but this is my best guess, and, maybe it's just a defective unit that happened to happen. I'm not sure, but all I know is that this was dangerous, and I wanted to make sure that people knew about this situation. So I wasn't trying to create any sort of chaos when I made that original post. It was more or less, let's get this out to the public, because I know there's some overdrippers out there, and if that's what caused this, then we need to address it immediately rather than wait until someone, blows off their hand. Luckily, my friend gave me a little bit more information. It was in his backpack, so he never ever used this charger. So the fact that Pioneer for You and the fact that some people are saying that, it was plugged in charging and stuff like that, that's a bunch of bullshit. It was pretty much just in a bag. He took it out of the bag, and it wasn't even smoking or anything. He just smelt burning plastic. He smelt the plastic that had burned onto here. So there was no fire, there were no flames. It was mainly that the charging board itself shorted out, melted, and that was it. There was no fire, no flames, no sort of major safety failure. However, this charging board, in my opinion, should not be in this unit, and obviously something failed. There's a bunch of liquid brands out there, there's a bunch of different battery contacts out there, and obviously he was using Iron 40 amps, and now he's using these, and those seem to be fine batteries for the unit. So it's mainly the fact that there are too many variables. And from my initial impressions of the facts of my friend over dripping, the scarring there, liquid was actually inside here. It smelled like plastic, so I couldn't actually smell the liquid that he was vaping. But from the experience that I have, and I've been vaping for, almost 3 years, and I've been working in the industry almost the same, so it's not like, I just woke up yesterday and started vaping. I've actually experienced and messed with a lot of these devices, and I do love Pioneer's devices. It was just an issue that I encountered. I took my best guess at it, which, looking at the facts, is a fairly logical guess, and wanted to make sure other people knew my experience and what I found out. So I hope this helps you out, guys. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. We will answer them because this obviously is a huge issue right now. So I hope this was helpful to clarify a couple questions, how we came to the conclusion. And hopefully Pioneer for You can do a little bit more testing with this unit and figure out exactly why this charging board failed. Again, never charged, never used, and liquid obviously caused some scarring here. So we don't know. We're just taking our best educational guess, making sure that people know that there is a possible defect if you are an overdripper. So, again, thank you guys for watching, and you remember, guys, vape safe.